Joining us now, the president of Americans for Tax Reform, Grover Norquist. Grover, so California's budget deficit is now nearly $35 billion. That's about 50% bigger than what Governor Gavin Newsom initially said at about $22 billion. What's going on here?
And only 2 years ago, he had a massive surplus that he thought would last forever. And while everybody else in the country all the other states were cutting taxes, he had a significant tax increase of about $3 billion a year in California, which didn't get him out of the problem. It made things worse. People are leaving California. They lost a congressional district last redistricting, expected to lose another 5 the next time out. CEOs are leaving. Musk left. You're looking at jobs fleeing. They got $1 trillion in debt on their pension. So when they said they had a surplus 2 years ago, that wasn't true. They're massively in debt because they've promised their government workers pensions that nobody in the private sector will ever live to see.
Well, Gavin, the other thing, too, is, we may be heading into a weaker economy. Won't this worsen the deficit by tens of billions of dollars in California? Isn't it dangerously dependent on taxing the incomes of the state's, top bracket?
Yes. One of the advantages Texas and Florida have is they don't have income taxes at all. Income taxes are very volatile in terms of if there's a recession or not. When the economy is doing well, they think they're rich and it'll last forever. They spend like crazy, and then when it goes down, states get in trouble. If you don't have an income tax, you don't bounce around that way. But in California, they not only have an income tax, they have a very progressive income tax, where the higher income people pay a huge percentage of the total budget. All it needs is a little bit of a recession. Stock values go down. You don't have the capital gains. And they're back in massive deficit.
So how can he run for the presidency? It's so bad in California. We're hearing reports the big insurer, Allstate, just joined State Farm. Allstate and State Farm are no longer selling homeowners insurance for new homeowners in California. So how can he even run for the presidency? We got things like San Francisco launching a $6 million ad campaign because tourism is dropping. Tourists are not going to San Francisco. But, Grover paints over and covers up the city's rampant crime, drug use, and homelessness. So how can he run for the White House with all of this going on?
Well, in the modern Democratic Party, he has, unfortunately, a winning message. California is America's future if we follow the path that Biden has laid out on taxing businesses and taxing high-income people and having high wealth taxes. California is just ahead of where Biden has dragged America. So remember, the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, the progressive majority of the Democratic Party, they like what he's doing in California. That's a small percentage of the population.
Taxation is so out of control in California. In San Francisco, so many retailers have fled. We're talking like Banana Republic, Urban Outfitters, Anthropologie, Whole Foods, Nordstrom, Saks. In San Francisco, they even started taxing vacant, empty storefronts last year. And then you've got things like, Target is putting every item in San Francisco in Target stores under lock and key. And now Walgreens is doing the same in Chicago because of shoplifting.
Well, the government isn't doing the things they should do, like enforcing the law and keeping people from stealing stuff. They don't have time for that. They've got all the time in the world for taking your money and giving it to somebody else who isn't working, or for building pyramids, or if they can't do pyramids, they do huge railroads from one place to another that nobody wants to go to, that we already have planes servicing. So they're and we're taking the entire electric grid and using make-believe energy instead of the real energy, which costs a lot more and goes on and off depending on the wind or how much sun there is.
But now you got California Governor Newsom taking a shot at Ron DeSantis. It looks like he would replace Biden if he's called, gets a phone call. Watch this.
We love to say about our state, the future happens here first. We're America's coming attraction. It's our responsibility to lead. And we do. Eat your heart out, Ron DeSantis. We are proud.
Really? Eat your heart out, Ron DeSantis? What do you think, Grover?
Well, I think New York and New Jersey are following California, but if you look at the rest of the nation, there are 12 states moving to zero income taxes, where they've decided we're going to phase our income tax down to zero. There are 12 states at a single rate now. More states want to look like Florida rather than want to look like California. They may have at once thought they were a cheerful future, but they're a dystopian future, and hopefully will scare people away from too much of that policy.